Welcome to episode 38 of the Old Fashioned Podcast. It's all three of us today and even one more. Mike's making okay, yeah, no, I'm just making sure you can hear me. Yes. It's one more. So there's technically four of us. You can't see his beautiful bundle of joy, but he is holding his little girl today while we record because mommy's not home.
That's right.
So if he suddenly goes dark and you hear like child screaming and Clintus and I just start having a one-on-one conversation, now you know why. And we've prefaced it, so no complaints, no on Twitter like what happened to Mike at the end of the episode.
Ultimate dadding podcast.
You'll be like, remember when Rob used to just disappear on Worst Radio Show in the second half of an episode because he had to go to the bathroom or something because he ate like fava beans on stream or whatever? Remember those days?
Crunchy, most crunchiest pretzels ever.
Oh no, that was a different episode where he decided that hard pretzels during a podcast was the play that week. And he's like,
professional.
Like, dude, bro, come on.
It was awesome.
Anywho, but as always, Old Fashioned Podcast sponsored by King's Coast Coffee. 5th anniversary is coming up in a few weeks, and maybe there'll be some stuff you can get out of that 5th anniversary.
Crazy. 5 years?
5 years of this hell. I mean, joy.
I still remember the conversation you had when you said you had a project you were working on, and you're like, I want to send you something to try out, and you sent me the 4 original, and I did that live taste test. It was good stuff, man.
Good time. I still have those beans in the old bookcase that I used to have behind me when I streamed. They're still sitting there because I am redoing that room. I am gonna be able to do stuff in that room again. I'm not full-time streaming, so get it out of your head. Stop asking me.
He's coming back.
No, just because you see me.
It's like a WWE re-entry.
Yeah, no, just because you see me doing that doesn't mean that I'm coming back to streaming or anything like that. Paul wants to create more content, and I need the ability to do it from home. So, but I have to get that room. I'm gonna do what Tim did, which is Mike's been in there. I don't think Clintus, you've never come to my house, right?
No.
Because the last time you were in Tampa was like 2018.
Yeah.
So
I think you were building it. Weren't you building it? That's when you were building it, right? 2018.
Yeah. I moved in March of 2018. So by the time you were at the event, I had moved into my house by then. But like I was fresh in the house.
Gotcha.
So we went. We have the extra garage. They call it the Sunday car garage, and that's when I made my space. But Tim took the garage door hinges and everything off, and then sheetrocked over it because it's already insulated. And then that's how he built his room. So I'm gonna do the same thing and do the sheetrock, and then put up something, I don't know, like faux wood or something.
Right on.
Everyone's doing wood. I want to do something else, but everything my wife shows me is a little like meh. So I don't know.
Industrial steel.
We'll see. But yeah, kingscoastcoffee.com. Make sure you head over there. 5th anniversary coming up soon. And we were in a budget meeting yesterday. We were talking about holiday stuff. So
already
much like Target, we're already thinking about Christmas. Tim was telling me on Star Wars and Scotch that he went to go get fall stuff at Target, and there was none. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
The grocery store this weekend, and as I'm walking the door, there's the ceramic pumpkins already outside. I was like, it just hit August. I'm like, oh, I guess it makes sense. Months in advance kind of thing. As soon as Halloween's over, Christmas is up. Yeah.
It's nuts.
So, speaking of coffee, finally, my friend, we had this conversation a couple weeks ago about how I want to try the whole pour over thing. Or like talk to Wayne, talk to everybody like coffee connoisseurs. Like that's the solid, one of the best ways to do it. And I was talking about, I was like, yeah, I just need to pull the trigger on like a Chemex or, maybe like one of the cheaper ones, but I need to get the whole thing. But I'm like, I want to do it right. I need the scale and I need the, a separate kettle so I can make sure I get the water the right temp and yada, yada. And a buddy of mine from / my community, but a friend of mine, he actually sent me a Chemex and the 100 filters. So I got the actual official thing. And then I went to Amazon, just bought the 2 other things I needed. So I got everything set up. So this weekend, I'm actually going to, for the first time ever, grind my beans up and do a pour over. And so I'm excited to actually try that and do everything. So I'll be on King's Coast website to make sure I get all the right things from Wayne and everything. Venture down that path for the first time.
Are you gonna make any content or just report back? Because I'd be interested to hear what that looks like when you're done with it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I'll definitely vlog it. I've been actually vlogging more recently. Been kind of getting back into that. I had a stint in July where I did it every day for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, after like a vacation, and then kind of broke away again and thought of. Then now I'm back again, and kind of kids back in school, so started kind of vlogging again. Just when I feel like there's something to either say or something's going on, just pick up the camera, even if it's like a 3-minute vlog. I've been doing like some 3-minute ones, and then I've been doing like a 12-minute, 14-minute one. So like today I talked about, hey, I bought all this stuff, I got this. So this weekend doing it. So yeah, I definitely vlog it. Depending on the time frame, I guess I could go live and do an IRL stream as well. Like the old times. But yeah, I'll definitely put some content out there, and I'll definitely report back on Twitter and everything. So maybe we can even talk about it next week on next week's episode too.
I would love to, because my first try at pour over and stuff is disaster. So I just let my wife make it now, because we do like pour over on the weekends when we have time. Other than that, we just use the coffee pot in the machine just because it's like easy and quick.
Yeah. Well, we've got this. We've got this. The Phillips Latte Go. We did a sponsorship with them. I don't know, like right before the pandemic. Actually, it was right when the pandemic hit, because we were supposed to do it like around February, Valentine's Day. We did it. We shot all this footage, and then they're like, March comes, everyone gets locked down, and like Phillips comes back, goes, yeah, we're gonna hold off on the promo and everything, and yada yada yada. I'm like, yeah, it's smart. A couple months later, they're like, hey, we want to redo this, but can we do it with the whole like angle of like being home now, like being work from home, staying at home, and then so it's like now you can get like a coffee shop quality coffee latte at home, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool, that's cool, good idea. So I love this thing. So we just pour the whole bag of beans in the top, put the lid on top, and then you just basically choose what you want to make: coffee, latte, espresso, cappuccino, and it just grinds the beans for 1 cup. So it's like a fresh Keurig. Love this thing. So like to the point where like if it broke, I would go buy another one. Like they gave us that one for the promo. If it broke, I go buy another one. I love this thing.
Tim has something similar. It's not Phillips. I forget who makes his, but he has something similar. But his has an espresso maker attached to it as well. It's like he has a whole coffee bar. So yeah, no, it's we just have a little Breville, and then I forget what brand our espresso maker is. I'm not cool like the King's Coast guys, where I have like a freaking mini Lar Marzocca in my kitchen, like Pete. But,
I bet.
Oh yeah, no, I was at his house when June, end of June, right after GCX. I was at his house, and and I came over because I hadn't had coffee yet, because I was not home, so I didn't make my own coffee. And I was like, "Could you make me espresso?" And he's just freaking ripping shots off the Lar Marzocca like it's nothing. And that's what it is. Mike, she's freaking adorable. I'm just gonna keep saying that. Oh, he can't hear me.
He's his off, yeah. He's on baby already. She already. I think we heard it for a split second. You heard her little cry.
Make sure that makes it into the episode, Paul.
Looks like maybe a diaper change. We'll see. Or bottle, one of the two.
It's like we're John Madden. Well, I think he's got to change the baby's diaper, because she's a little upset and she's crying, so that probably means she's got a big shit in there.
She's doing a little squirm. She was doing a little like the back squirm, like, oh god, it's in my butt crack, it's in my back.
It's like, and I love kids. I love kids. You have 2, I have 3. I love kids. It's just funny because I love other people's kids, because it's like, oh, it's so cute. You hold them and it's like, here you go, they shit themselves. It's not my problem. For me, for instance, last night, Danielle went to the movies. She took her mom and her best friend to go see Top Gun. Nice. And she got pulled over for the first time in her life afterwards, which I'll tell that. 'Cause she just won't shut up about it. It's hilarious. But she went, so I had the kids, and Jules is being potty trained. So she's like, Daddy, I go potty. I said, okay. We go in the potty. And I didn't think, because I was trying to like situate bedtime for both of them at the same time, that sometimes when she says that, it means she already shit her pants, because she's still figuring out like the feeling between shitting and having it in there.
Yep.
And I just dropped her pull up, not thinking, and it was just Clintus was just shit. And I was like, oh fuck. So then I'm like calling her brother. I'm like, Hunter. Oh, Mike, I was just telling a story last night. We're potty training Jules, and she hasn't fully conceptualized like I need to go to the bathroom versus I already shit myself. So she said I want to go potty, and I wasn't thinking, and I just pulled her pull up down and just shit. So then I'm calling. I'm like, Hunter, I need you. And he's like, I'm watching TV. I'm like, I need you now.
Dad, Star Wars is on.
And he's
Cut her
like,
off.
Now we're back on Pokemon. It's so freaking annoying. And so he's comes in. He's like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "Get me wipes." So he's in and he's like, "I don't know where Mom put the wipes." I'm like, this shit." So then I'm like, I go, stand here, make sure your sister doesn't move. And I'm like running around the house because I also don't know where she put the wipes. So then we keep wipes in our bathroom. So I went and got those. I come back. Jules is just sitting there with the shit and the stuff down by her ankles, and I'm cleaning up. I'm like, keep the dog away because he ate a nugget of shit the other day. And like, oh God, it's just a whole thing.
Oh no.
So yeah, that was my thing. It started with we were saying how cute your daughter is, and then also Paul, our producer, is home today, and he just had a baby as well. So there was a point where I was sending screenshots to my wife of both babies, and she was like, "They're such cute little liars." I bet she wakes up right when the show starts, and I said that too.
And guess what happened?
Immediately woke up right when the show started.
Yeah,
yeah.
I will say this: Allie just got home like as soon as it happened. It was like perfect timing because she started to get. She's like, like Kevin Hart, basically.
Yep.
I mean, she's hungry.
How long is she out of work for?
She got an extra 2 weeks for the C-section, so I think it's 6.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only
Go
ahead. I was gonna say the only poop story, the only shit story I have with my kids, and it's just still to this day. It just got brought up just a couple weeks ago too, when Bryce was just a little guy walking around still, but still in diapers. We were at our brother-in-law's house, and some friends were over. We're all drinking, hanging out, doing our thing. Little Sierra, my daughter's always been the one that's like honest, truthful. If the boys ever did something, it's always like, ask Sierra who did what, because she won't lie. She never been a liar, right? And of course the boys are like, don't tell, right?
Narc.
Yeah. She comes downstairs, Dad, Bryce pooped. And I'm like, oh, I'm thinking that he smells, right? He stinks. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll be up there in a minute. I'll go get him. No, it's on the wall. I'm like, the poop's on the wall? Yeah. I'm thinking like, oh my God. So my mind goes like, he's playing with it, finger painting. Like I'm thinking like that kind of thing, right? We get up there and I'm like, where is he? And they're like, he's in Mason's room. And I go to Mason's room and I'm looking for the shit. I'm like, what, where? In the closet. I'm like, what? He had closed the door because he was like embarrassed, scared, whatever. I opened the door. There is shit on the wall. And I'm like, what happened? And apparently
he pooped vertically.
Well, he pooped and then he fell and it shot up his ass crack and hit the wall. Like, and I'm not even joking. He had shit up his back, but like a little squirt hit the back of the wall. And my mind's like, how the fuck does that happen? He's got a shirt on. Like, what? I don't know how it happened, but like it was so packed. And so when Kevin's talking about how he pulls his pants and shit just falls out, that's what I'm like trying to take his clothes off and there's shit coming out of his legs. He must have shit twice. Like he shit so much that shit's just coming out every crack of the diaper. And I'm like,
he got the fear shits as well.
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? There's so much shit. He's such a little guy. And I'm like taking it off and I'm like, oh, hold on. I stopped. I'm like, get a blanket, because I'm afraid to open this thing. It's just like fucking shit's just going to come out everywhere. And like, it's the only shit story we really have. Like, of course, potty training, kids pee on the ground. Like, I got to pee. They just let it out, and that's what for us, the best way to train my son was naked. If he was wearing underwear, he felt like it was a pull up and he just pee. And he'd pee right through his underwear. He walked around naked, he wouldn't just pee. And so he'd be like, I got to pee. And he started doing the pee-pee dance. I'm like, go. And he'd run to the bathroom. And that's how we potty trained my son. Whereas my daughter, she'd go days, weeks without any accidents. And then we'd be like at the playground and she'd just like stop her in her tracks and just pee. And we're like, oh, like dude, that was the difference between the boy and girl.
That regression is so, I don't want to say frustrating because they're kids, but it's like, no, we made it so far.
Yep.
And you are full on regressing backwards. No.
Yep. Daughter was, she was early to like know the difference between I got to go and everything. So she was in underwear like almost before she was 2. But like 2 is when she started like being in underwear. But then, like I said, she had a lot of accidents, right? Whereas my son, he wasn't ready until he was almost 3. But as soon as he was ready, he was done. Like he was like, boom, I'm potty trained. So the big difference between like that extra year, I guess. Because like I said, she had a lot of accidents from 2 to 3. Whereas my son wasn't ready yet until 3, and then he was good.
Right.
We Danielle told the story Hunter once when he was really little. she took his diaper off and she was changing it, and she's like, he projectile shit and hit the wall. Like it went from here, smack on the wall, and she would always tell, right? Like, but it's shit. Jeez. Like, it's shot. Think of the pressure.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it's like boom.
Damn.
It's impressive.
Episode 38, shit talk.
Torpedo tube ready.
Have you now? Okay, this is gonna get fun. Have any of you ever shit your pants as an adult?
Did we have this conversation last week, Mike? I feel like I just had this conversation with somebody about shit.
The first time I got
diapers.
Drunk, the first time I got drunk, I peed myself in junior high school.
Okay,
sure.
Yeah. I didn't know what I was doing, and we were just crushing buds, you know, because that's what you drank back then, because that's what you could steal from your dad. And so I was with my friends, and we were hanging out, and you know, I had like 6. It's the first time I ever had beer. And I had like 6, like, this is fine. I feel fine. And all of a sudden I was like, oh no, I just peed my pants. And I'm walking around my boxer shorts, or no, my friend's boxer shorts, because he gave me his boxers. And they're like, man, it's okay. It happens to the best of us. He went and he washed my pants and my boxers drunk. And the best part about that story is I woke up the next morning with the biggest hangover, and I got in the car with my mom, and I just said hello, and she goes, why do you smell like beer?
My dad used to play the game. He'd pretend like he didn't notice it, but you'd come home the next morning, right, hungover, and he'd look at you, because like the rule was always like, yeah, like I could go out, but then you had to be home like Sunday morning because the family went to church, right?
Right.
So you had to be back Sunday morning, and you'd stroll in, obviously a hot mess, but you think you're so good you can fake it and hide it. So he'd pretend like he didn't notice, and he'd see me walk in the door, and he'd be like, "What's up, big guy? Yeah." And he'd start banging pots and stuff together for breakfast. You want some breakfast? Start like, getting real loud about shit. I'm like, oh.
That's the real revenge. That's smart. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
He knew what he was doing.
I have the philosophy with my kids that, like, look, you're gonna do it anyway. Just do it here or at someone's house that I trust. That's all I ask.
That's basically they obviously they wouldn't. It was never something where they would like supply me, right? But they were like, listen, if you're gonna be out and that's what you do, we don't like. It was always like, when you come here, we don't want you doing it here, like at our house. This is our house. We don't support this. But if you're out and we don't have control over what you're doing, we ask that you stay where you are. Do not drive. Do not just call us. Let us know. We will either pick you up or you just stay where you are. It was basically, safety was always the number one thing for us. So it was never like, you know, it wasn't like a big deal, but they also didn't want it to come off like, yeah, we're totally cool with you doing this. It's a fine line.
I also don't treat it like this forbidden thing.
Neither did they. Yeah,
Clintus. Like, if at Thanksgiving last year with my daughter, I was like, she's like sniffing my scotch. I'm like, take a sip, because I know if she takes a sip,
she's gonna hate it.
Never gonna want scotch again.
Yep.
So she took a sip. She's like, oh yeah.
Yep.
She's like gagging on it, and I'm like, yeah, no, that's what I'm sipping on. She's like, this is. But then, like, we had a glass. My mother-in-law handed her a glass of champagne. And she was like, I'm not going to drink this whole thing. So she had like 3 sips and then put it down, and that was it. So I think, too, if you destigmatize the whole, you know, like, don't drink, the alcohol is bad, you might die, it changes their perception on it. And they're not like, other kids are like, I'm getting fucking drunk today. And they're like, okay, that's whatever. Enjoy
it's the same thing with tattoos, man.
Yeah, same thing.
Same thing. Because I get asked all the time, what are you going to do when your son wants one? I'm like, I'm going to take him for his first one.
Probably get matching ones.
Like, I'm like, we'll think about it. Did I ever tell you
the matching tattoo she wants with me?
No.
So we're both in denial, lactose intolerant people.
I'm there with you.
Meaning we've never been diagnosed, and I still, like, I had ice cream last night because it was a max day at the gym. Like, I feel like I deserve the leftover
and
ice cream
you
cake.
immediately get the Bee Gees, right?
Right, exactly.
The bubble guts hit, and you just got to go.
Yeah, but I had enough. I know how much I can have that it won't hit too bad, so I can manage it. Anyway, she found this drawing. It's this little milk carton, like in the Ghostbusters thing, and it has a sad face on it. Like it's very cartoony. And she's like, "Dad, can we get this as our first matching tattoos?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
Yes.
I was like, that shouldn't be your first tattoo, but I'm in the phase of my life where it doesn't matter anymore. I can get whatever I want.
I don't care. I don't give a shit anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, think about when my kid turns I want to make sure he goes to a good artist, right? He's not going to get some like shady back alley dude to do a random Tasmanian devil on his thigh like it was so cool back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Tetanus needle.
Like those fad like 90s could you imagine if you were
sick tribal, bro?
Yeah, you started getting tribal because it was a cool fad. No, I want to make sure he goes somewhere good. He goes somewhere quality, somewhere he can return to, right? And an artist that has good standards, because there's a lot of shitty parlors out there that will do really shitty tattoos on really shitty people, and you know what I mean. And I don't want him supporting those parlors or those artists. So, I want to make sure he gets in good, like good first experience, and I'll go with you. And I was told from day one, no, never, not in my house. No.
I actually think we'll see less tattoos with this generation we're raising now.
Probably because
we all have them. I know you don't, Clintus, but I'm just saying a lot of us have them more probably than ever in history. And I think it just, again, another destigmatization of that, where it's not this taboo thing.
It was generations of people told no, and generations of people told like you are lesser than, or you cannot make it far in life if you have these. And enough people were just like, no, I'm going to challenge that ideology. I don't accept that. And now it's being accepted as the inverse. So it's not what it was. So yeah, I mean, the guy who tattoos me, covered. He's got three little ones, and his kid, who is old enough to like understand what his dad does and recognize how good his dad is at this, has no interest in getting tattoos at all. He's like, nope,
yeah, sure,
I'm good, Dad. I'm good.
Yeah, that's my son's the same way. He's like, I don't think I want them. I'm like, okay, I don't care.
I just had this conversation yesterday. I finally got a haircut and got rid of all the weird dye-colored faded hair. And the guy that cut my hair was covered in tats. Had a I think it said victory above his one eye, and then he had like a flower, it looked like a Hawaiian flower, like right in his hairline, almost like the flowers like in his ear kind of thing. And had this conversation, and I just real quick, I was like, gotta ask you, man, like, how did this start, and how long did it take you to make that decision on your face? Because I feel like a face tattoo is like a big commitment, right? Like that's a big commitment. And he's like,
commitment.
I'm in the art industry, like art, I've been a hair person, hairstylist or whatever, for like 20 something years. So he goes, once I've like was solidified, this is my career path, art on my body is no big deal, and make sense. And I went to a corporate, like big name haircut place just because it was like I literally drove by and saw the guy outside the sign going $7.99 back to school haircut sale. I was like, $8, buzz this off, get rid of it, I'm good. Like, normally I go to a barber, spend more money, but I'm like, just something quick and easy. But I'm like, that's cool that they would hire, like they don't have a problem hiring you. And he kind of looks at me and goes, to be honest, man, they have a hard time there's a big churn. I don't think they're going to turn anybody away.
Fair.
I was like, good point, fair. He's like, no. He goes, but I've been doing this for a long time. And he goes, it started with one, and then it, like you hear, it gets addicting. And he goes, but the face tattoo did take me about a year to pull the trigger on. Because he was like, I felt that. I was like, yeah, this is a big commitment. Everything else can be covered up or, whatever. But it's on my face. It's everywhere. And the flower was the first thing. And then once he got the flower done, he's like, yeah, let's do some more.
Yeah, it's all downhill after that.
Yeah, he had like spider webs in his ears. And I was like, holy shit. And he goes, I have a high tolerance pain. I go, well, what was there one that really you felt? He goes, my ears. He goes, bro, I thought I had a high tolerance of pain. He goes, the moment they started doing that, I was 3 lines in. I was like, we got to take a break. You got to take a break. He was like, holy shit, that was the most excruciating pain I've ever had in my life. I was like,
the ear?
Yeah, like in his ear. Like he had like a cobweb tattooed. Yeah. He goes, it swole up like that. As soon as he started, it started swelling. Sucks. Yeah, it was excruciating. But
I'll tell you what, dude.
Did you ever get your ears pierced up here, Mike?
No.
Oh, that fucking blew. The guy got stuck too on mine.
Oh no.
He shot the gun in because I had this side. I had that. He shot the gun in and he pulled it out and my head went with him.
Oh. Now I had my nipples done. Both my nipples were pierced. And I don't know if you're familiar with how they do that. There's no gun. It's a long ass fucking needle.
And it's thick.
It's thick because it's hollow and it has to fit the bar in it.
Gross.
And they just line it up. And my guy's like, all right, man, 1, 2, 3, okay. I was like, okay. He goes 1, 2, in. And I was like, oh. And I was dumb enough to do both. So it hurt. Like, it hurt bad, but it wasn't bad enough for me not to commit to both. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you right now. And my feet, getting the tops of my feet sucked. They're still not finished getting tattooed because I am dreading. I'm dreading going back to get my feet done, but I have to get my armpit done now. I thought feet were bad. Armpit's worse. My armpit, like it's like in. It's gonna go halfway down. This is all like thin flower outline right now. It's my armpit hair is going to be tattoo. It's like it hurts. He just did wash lines. Wash lines were terrible.
He finished here, Clintus. Mm-hmm. So that was the last thing he did when my arm was nice and sore and completely. And he's coloring in the cross, and I'm like. And for those listening on audio, I'm pointing to like almost where the pit is on my arm.
Yep.
And he's coloring in the cross, and I'm like, I can't. I'm like, my feet are moving because I'm just done. I think that one took 3.5 hours.
Oh.
And I'm like, I'm over it. And he's like, look, we can go for 10 more minutes, or you can show your friends tomorrow and be like, yeah, I pussed out with 10 minutes left, and I'm gonna have to go back and get him to touch it up. I was like,
you son of a bitch, I'm back.
Finish the goddamn tattoo, and I'm never coming. I came back, obviously, but yeah. So that was a fun one. I want to connect my chest by doing the here, but everyone I know that has done this has said once you get here, where those two bones are, they're like, it is. Nope, you don't want to do that. So
you know what?
And the older you get,
yeah.
the less you want to sit.
Yeah.
I go for like an hour and a half now. I can't, that's my level. I just don't want to sit for longer than that.
I have a 6-hour session on the 31st.
Boom.
Yeah. And you know what, man? I'm thinking about just Amazoning some fucking numbing spray because I don't give a shit anymore. It used to be, I'm not going to lie, man. It used to be, oh, you got to be big badass, blah, blah, blah. I'm over it. I'm over trying to like convince myself that it's therapeutic. It's not. I'm over trying to be like I've sat through enough tattoos at this point without any assistance. And the longest I've ever sat was 9.5 hours straight. I've done it. I feel like I've put my time in. I've quote unquote earned, right? The numbing shit at this point. I don't got shit to prove to nobody. I've been going to the same guy since I was 18 years old, 17 years old. I've been going to the same fucking dude. I know him. I'm friends with him, friends with his wife. We hang out outside the shop. I don't give a shit anymore, man. I'm numbing the bitch. I'm over it.
Who cares? Someone told me, they're like, you should take an edible before you go. And I'm like, no, because there's only 2 results from that. One, you might be relaxed and it might ease up. But my artist, the guy who just moved to Colorado, said, or you might be the other type of person where it intensifies the pain like tenfold and you can't even handle it. And I'm like, oh, that's a thing? And he goes, oh yeah. He's like, there are some people that smoke or do whatever before they get ink, and then they're screaming in pain because it actually like something like increases your sensitivity and it just makes it 10 times worse. So I am the type of person that I'm like, I am not going to experiment and figure out which type of person I am. So for me, I'm like, nah, I'll just deal with it and sit for an hour and a half. So, but my problem is now I have to find a new person because my guy moved to Denver. So
yeah, my daughter will be 18 in November, and she's already talking about like she wants to get a tattoo and like loves the idea of tattoos, and not necessarily, at the moment doesn't want to think about a sleeve, but just like a couple like pieces here and there, right? Certain parts of her body she likes when she sees it on Instagram, whatever. And I told her, I turned 40 last year, and I was like, I talked about it last year about like, oh, maybe I get my first tattoo at 40. And she was like, well, maybe why don't you just wait, almost a year? Well, I guess it would be a year later because her birthday's like a couple of days after mine. So wait another year, and we'll go get our first tattoos together. And I was like, okay, that's cool. We'll go to whether we get matching ones or we just get our own first tattoos, but do it together. Because for me, my brothers got their first tattoos. We were supposed to go together. My one brother drew. So our names, I'm the oldest, is Clint, Austin, and Travis. And my mom used to always introduce us and be like, when she introduced us, be like, just remember the who's who, Cat, C-A-T, right? Oldest to youngest. And that was kind of like a little joke around us and everything. So my brother drew this, like, original one was like a tiger. It very much looked like this, and it had the C-A-T in it. Then he lost it, and then he tried to recreate it, and it ended up doing a C, very, very blatant C-A-T, but it was in the shape of a cat's head, And so he's like, we should get this as a tattoo. I was like, that's a fucking great idea. We go down together, all three of us, and get the tattoo. Well, my youngest brother, even to this day, like late 30s, he's like Mr. Impatient. They ain't got time for nobody. Like, I'm doing this now, fuckers. He went and got it done without us. And I was like, you asshole. We were supposed to go together, man. I was supposed to get brother thing, right? Brother bond. Well, then he's like, well, fuck it. Just go. Let's go. I'm like, all right. And Austin, let's go, man. We'll plan a day. He's like, all right, yeah. How about ball this week? I'm like, all right. And then last minute, something came up. I'm the one with kids, right? So shit happens. I'm like, hey, man, I got to reschedule someone with the kids. Said he went without me and got hit done. I'm like, you motherfucker. Like, and so here we are 20 years later.
Man out now.
I've had no desire to go by myself and get it done. And they've never, Austin's never gotten any more. Travis got a couple other ones. But like, if it was more of a thing that they were doing or I was doing, like maybe I'd go, but like, I don't know, I have no desire. And plus they got it in the back of their neck. And I always said, like, to me personally, that if I want to get a tattoo, I want to see it. Like, I want to be able to see it, enjoy it. I can explain it. Someone goes, oh, what's that tattoo on your back? I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I had that. Here, look, like I don't want that personally for me. So I just never went back and got it. And I've thought about like getting it, but like maybe like get it like on my shoulder or my hand or something like that, just to have it. But now again, it lost its sentimental value. So with my daughter, I'm like, that would be sentimental. Be like, oh yeah, I got my first tattoo with my daughter. We both got our first tattoos together. So
I don't know how big it is, but if you want an easy spot, you could do like right in here, because the finger doesn't hurt that much at all.
Oh,
that was the easiest tattoo. It didn't even feel like I'm not shitting you. I didn't even feel pain. It was just like mildly, slightly annoying. That's the best way I can put it.
I got you.
Yeah, that was it. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's like about this big, like so on the back, right below their neck. Like Travis's is lower on like almost like his shoulder blades, where Austin's is a little bit higher. You can actually see like the tips of the ears coming out of his shirt. So I mean, if I were to get it, like I'd like be on the shoulder, or even like a small version on the top. I know top of hands probably would hurt, but again, at this point, I'm like, it doesn't really mean that much to me as much as it would have been 20 years ago.
You could just get CAT written on your finger too.
Well, and that's the thing too. If I got some ideas, like, here's the thing: I don't have any tattoos, but I've got like 5 ideas, right? Like if I pull the trigger on this, I've got like 5 ideas that I would do.
Sounds like once you pop, you're just not going to stop.
Yeah. Well, and I got to get my wife over that hump too, because she's like not a fan. Because her mind, it's permanent, right? It's forever. And what if you like change your mind 20 years? Like my sister regrets her tattoo, and I'm like, I get it. It's not for everybody. It's not everybody's thing. I said, but again,
I have some dumb tattoos, dude. I have some dumb.
But it's a story, right? Like it's story.
Honest to God, dude, I don't really regret any. I have a shadowed out, scarred the fuck up rabbit silhouette on my knee.
I need some dumb ones. That's my next phase. I just need some dumb ones.
But you know what, dude? It doesn't bother me.
At
all.
That's like, how I feel.
It's funny. It's a story. Like you said, it was a portion of my life. And I'm to the point now where nothing really means any, like my entire sleeve, like, well, I shouldn't say that. It just does have meaning. But like I'll go to my guy. I have a boxer on my thigh. What the fuck does that mean? I don't know. It's a fucking American traditional style boxer. It looks cool.
Right.
I have like tons of stuff that just mean and have no representation. I like the design. I like the art. It looks cool. Or I was at a point where I went in, I had no real plan for my panels. And I'm like, yo, dude, what's cool to you this week? You know what I mean?
So
that's it.
I still owe the community a St. Jude tattoo from one of my fundraisers that I did. and I was just going to do the silhouette, but I'm not crazy about that. And this is what happens with me when I say like, I'm not into meaning, but now I've formulated this whole idea. Danielle thinks it's great. Ben and Tim were like, that's amazing. Da, 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 da. I want to do, instead of, because I'm going to go down here next. That's where I'm my next frontier. And a lot of the stuff I have planned for here, again, Mike, it's just like, whatever, just looks cool.
Yeah.
But this one, instead of doing the silhouette, I was thinking of doing it like old school style and put like two hands out with coins in the hands and do a banner on the top that says proud and a banner on the bottom that says beggars, because that's what Danny Thomas calls the folks that fundraise for St. Jude.
Dude, that's really cool.
Right, but that was me. I was just a silhouette. Now I overthought it, and now I have this crazy design that I gotta go do. And that's really my problem. Cool. I can't just accept the stupid tattoo. I have to go deeper into it. So that's why I want to get the milk carton with Audrey, because I'm like, that'll be the first like dumb thing that I have. And Daniel's like,
you should have dumb tattoos. You should.
I need some.
You're covered. You should have dumb tattoos. 1,000%.
So I think I'm gonna do the milk. And I'm not crazy about back tattoos either, but I think I'm gonna do the milk carton on one of my back shoulders, just because I don't know where else to put it at this point.
I have the last word tattooed on my waist.
That was a bet, though.
The Destiny gun.
Really? That was a bet.
Yeah.
Do you remember the fundraiser we did for
cystic fibrosis?
For Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. It was like the first time that anyone had ever heard of Worst Radio Show, because Corey rated the channel, and that was when I burned my tank top. I don't know if you remember all this. This is like old school Twitch. Like,
no, I don't remember
before
that.
You were still on YouTube.
Oh shit!
This is Destiny 1. Like, this is
okay.
OG.
Yeah, early days. Yep.
So Worst Radio Show got invited to finish night 1 of the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation fundraiser that Dads of Destiny was putting on, and we had never fundraised before, and all of a sudden I just took to it. Like, I felt like very natural, and we were begging for money. I think we had $1,000 goal, and then Mike, I don't even know what the dollar amount was, Mike, that you said you were going to get it.
Yeah.
It was so low.
It was stupid low.
And he was like, I will get the last word tattooed on me for this amount of money. And I was like, oh man, that's not a lot. Whatever. Lo and behold, someone just was like, bam. And then Mike's like, oh, I'm getting the last word tattooed on me. So he has it on his hip as if it's like holstered. And then my thing was at $2,000, I think. I said I was just going to like take, because Corey rated the channel and everyone was making fun of this striped tank top I was wearing. I have no idea why to this day. So I said, I tell you what, I will go on Twitter Live and I will burn this tank top if you hit $2,000. They hit $2,000. Someone donated $500 right there. And I had to figure out a way to go in the yard. My wife was so mad at me. And like on Twitter Live, whatever that was called, I forget what the live feature on Twitter used to be called.
Periscope. Yes. Oh my God.
I had to go on Periscope and burn the thing. And I did it in a pot because I wanted to keep the fire contained. And I completely ruined one of our pots because it had like melted shirt stuck to the bottom of it that wouldn't come out. My wife was so angry with me.
Trying to do an emote and everything.
But she couldn't get mad at me. She couldn't get too mad at me because I was doing something good for Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. Which, didn't your wife work there?
She worked for the foundation, yeah.
Yeah, so that was even cooler. It was just, but yeah, that was like the first time we did fundraising and tried it, and it just kind of snowballed from there. But yeah, it was that was fun. But that's why Mike has this stupid last word tattoo on. Oh, the video's still out there? It's probably, you know where it is, Paul? It's probably on the old Worst Radio Show YouTube channel, which I don't know if you have access to, but I could go look. Oh, yes, you should, because it's mine. That's my channel. It's probably somewhere lost in the hell that is the unlisted or private videos, because I pulled everything from that channel at some point and just left it private. Mainly because of a former problematic host that we had. I had to pull content from that channel. No one Clintus, don't worry. Someone that used to be on the show way back when said some things that weren't very 2022.
Gotcha. Yeah, I had to do that once. I was like going through YouTube and I tried to do a couple searches. I'm like, I know there's some words that I used to say that probably shouldn't say now. So I went back, or even like videos with my kids, like that's a big thing too. Like with all the drama that happened with YouTube, like the families and stuff. The couple that got like real spotlighted.
Oh yeah.
You see the stuff on TikTok?
No.
It came out that so there's family TikTokers similar to the way you did family vlogging.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out that because you can download TikTok videos like direct native to platform, pedophiles were like literally going on there and downloading.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah, of people's kids. Because we at Rare Drop, we work with an organization that is trying to end human trafficking. So I get reports from them for case studies and stuff on what happens in digital media and how grooming works and things like that. Because it's not just this like one-off little like, oh, come meet me at a hotel. Like they spend months grooming these kids, and they meet them in Fortnite, they meet them in Roblox, they meet them on PlayStation, they meet them on Xbox Live. Like it's fucking creepy. But on TikTok, the pedophiles were like downloading the videos of the kids. So all of these family TikTokers had to start pulling videos of their kids off because they don't want fucking pedos downloading videos of their kids and doing God knows what with them.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised by that.
You hate to see it because like we all just want to enjoy entertainment and like be normal people,
right.
But
anywhere there's easy access, there's going to be
there's sick fucks
out there. We'll call it.
Yeah, so that came out. You know, did you ever get anything? I don't know if you can talk about it, but did you ever get anything creepy or weird like that?
No. We had this conversation specifically about this TikTok thing in my Discord. And yeah, I mean, thankfully, in all the years I've been doing this, never had anything crazy. Did have the only thing that I had that I guess you could put in that kind of that realm was somebody who, you know, because I was daily, so what I did today went up tomorrow, right? So it's very real time. And they did this whole thing where I'm like, oh, we're having a yard sale this weekend. Here's all the crap in my garage and this and that. I had someone show up to my house at the yard sale. Like, and so like they were there and you know, it's a normal person talking. And then they decide to say, yeah, I watched your videos, And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, I heard you were having a yard sale. So I thought I'd, you know, come check out your stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. And then he proceeds to tell me that his wife is who I bought my wedding ring from. And that's how he got my address. And I was like, yo, that's not cool. Like it's
that's
one
not
thing
cool at all, dude.
I'm sure there's yeah.
He could, I guarantee you his wife would be fired if the company found out that she's pulling 100%. Addresses like that and providing
100%.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't say that's how he got the address, but my brain went there. Like I was like, well,
yeah.
How else? You know, how else? But then I was like, also like, you know, you could Google shit, public records. I'm like, whatever. If he figures out who my real name is, it could have been just my real name. Like he got my real name and then he did this legwork, you know. I don't know. Yeah. Because it was one of those things where like I vlogged getting my wedding ring. Because this is my second wedding ring. I lost my first one.
How long ago was that though?
Oh shit. That was like 10, 12 years ago.
You know who has a horrifying story about that is Elohim.
Really?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I had drinks with him one night and he sat and told me the story. I was like, I felt it in my chest.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he's got videos and stuff. If you Google it, you can hear the story. He's done interviews about it and stuff too. And it is so, and it's a good ending. Like it ends well. It's not, but this person was very troubled and got his address and flew across the world.
Holy shit.
To his home. And you know, he has a wife and a child. Like that's just
Well, and the thing is, I started doing this, you know, in the infant stages of the internet and social media, and you know, literally 2006. My channel is 16 years old, right? Like, I've been doing this for a long time. So back then, dude, I would shoot in front of my house. Like, you could see my neighbor's address, like the little plaque on the wall that says their number, and it's like I'm shooting from across the street, which means my number is only 1 or 2 off from that. You know, Did not think about it. Did not really care because again, I didn't have any scares. So it's very much like until it happens, you know.
Yeah. Right.
And when I moved about my second house, it was a very unique house, right? It had some very unique properties about it. So people found it on Google Maps. People were able to find it just by me describing it.
Like people were looking is like, ooh.
Well, and here's the thing too, and I'll try to be delicate when I say this. Some people, some very special people, special needs people that they don't understand the concept.
Okay, so there was
safety.
like Right.
Yeah, boundaries, safety. They just thought like, oh, I found your house. I thought it was, I mean,
yes. Without divulging information, Mike, you've dealt with that at GCX.
Yes.
With people that don't understand.
Clearly do not understand boundaries.
Yep.
Because to them, and look, I understand what they're saying, but it doesn't make what they do right.
Correct.
They see you, they see me, and other broadcasters and folks, and they know us because they watch us and they talk to us. To if we have not met you and have a relationship with you, you are a name and a color on a screen. You have to understand that is just how it is. It's nothing against you personally. That's just who you are to us. You are a name and a color on a screen. So when people, and it happens to me, people walk up to me at GCX and they're like, hey, Kevin. And I'm like, hi. And there's no introduction. It's just,
they're just talking like they know you.
Right. Because they do. So, we've had situations at GCX where broadcasters and content creators have been put in extremely uncomfortable situations, or people cross the line that they shouldn't have and things like that. And I'm keeping it private for obvious reasons, but we've had some where people are just fucking creeps and need to be kicked out as well. But for the most part, there's just that weird boundary that people don't understand because they see you every day and they know who you are, but you don't know who they are. And that's where it gets weird.
And when I moved, I was like, I'm not going to shoot any video in front of my house. I don't really try to show the outside. Everyone was asking for it. You're right. I did the tour, because that's a big thing too. Like, oh, here's my house tour, right? And then afterwards, hearing stories about people who like map people's houses because of videos. And I was like, oh shit, I shouldn't do that next time. So when we moved the third time, the last time where we're at now, I'm very private about where I'm at. Well, just by the information that I gave and the limited amount of houses in the area, someone found the address before I even bought the fucking house and like shared it in my like circles. And I'm like, what the how is that possible? And then my buddy's like, well, here I can find it. And I was like
we were doing the
think about.
We were doing the jam once and someone kept spamming Corey and Ben's addresses in chat. I will never forget the terror on Corey. Yeah, I will never forget the terror on Corey's face. And he was blocking them and trying to stop it. And I was trying to not. So when you get in a situation like that, the last thing you want to do is let chat know that something is wrong because then everyone's going to see it. So I was trying to drive the conversation. Corey's trying to handle it. I don't even think Ben knew. I think we told him afterwards. But I just remember the terror on Corey's face, like, holy, because it's scary for me because I'm sitting in the house that the address is on the screen. Like I'm sitting there. So it's scary for me too, but I'm just like, and try to keep it going. But yeah, people do creepy shit like that because public records are there.
So the worst I ever did was I'm live playing a game and I ordered Uber Eats to my house.
Oh no.
And they called me because apparently I had either put the wrong address in or had my old address or something. I don't know, something like that. They called me and I pick up the phone. I'm like, oh guys, it's my Uber Eats, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, da, 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 da. I'm like, oh no, it's this. And I say my address.
No.
And I hang up the phone. Like, all right, sweet. Food will be here in a minute. And all of a sudden my chat goes, did you just say your address?
Did you just dox yourself?
And I'm like, I'm like playing the game. I'm reading chat and I'm like, I could feel my fucking face, the terror of what I just did. And I pick up my phone and I'm fucking like goosebumps. I look at my phone.
Sweat.
I'm like, oh, hey guys. And I don't know. I fucking pull some out of my ass. I'm like, oh shit, guys. I got my wife's calling us. She said there's an emergency. I fucking end the stream and I delete the VOD and I go through the clips. I'm like, and I'm just doing all that to make sure there's no fucking right. But of course, by then, if anyone listened, wrote it down, rewound, whatever, it only takes a few seconds. But I was like,
flipped it.
Holy fucking shit. Like
I have a funny version of that for you. So I was trying to stream the original Knights of the Old Republic on PC. And it's so problematic to try and screen capture that I had to go through these like janky ways to do it to the point where I had trouble getting access to OBS because of it. This was pre dual PC streaming. Mm-hmm. So I was working with one. So I had to like alt tab and all this stuff. So I ended the stream, but I didn't actually end the stream and my camera was still on. and I'm turning off all the lights. Thank God I did that in the streaming room. And so in my old house, the townhouse where I used to live, the streaming room would get hot. It was upstairs. The sun would beat on it most of the day, and it would get super hot, especially with all the lights on. So I immediately take my shirt off. And all of a sudden I look over and chat's like, Kevin, the cameras, Kevin, you're still online, Kevin. And I'm like, oh, shit. And I dive for the mouse and like hit stop streaming and immediately delete the VOD. But of course, the mods already had screenshots. So in my mod chat, they were sharing them. They didn't make them public or anything. Thankfully, most of the people had left when I put the I'm leaving, goodbye. Yeah. But the scene, the problem is I clicked the scene, and because of everything that was janky with the mouse and stuff, because they don't have controller support for that game, so you had to use janky software to make the controller work too, and that was what was inhibiting the mouse from working. So when I clicked the ending screen source, this was pre-Stream Deck too. It didn't the mouse click didn't register because of the janky software that I was using. So I was still on the camera screen, and then when I end streams, I go full screen camera. So yeah, so everyone got to see my like hairy ass fucking chest that day. It
was awesome, hilarious.
Yeah. It's good times. Before we get out of here, we got a few news stories that Paul picked up. You can't hear Paul today, so I'm gonna read them. The synopsis of it. But this one my wife actually pinged me on. Mattress Company seeking professional sleepers to nap on the job. A New York-based mattress company is seeking professional sleepers to get paid for taking naps and documenting the experience on social media. Casper, a mattress firm founded in 2014, said on its website that it is hiring Casper sleepers willing to snooze in our stores and in unexpected settings out in the world. Clintus, that sounds like a perfect opportunity for you.
That sounds awesome.
Vlog it. I have a Casper mattress, dude. I could be like a fucking sleeper agent on that. No pun intended.
Well, Clintus could like go out in the middle of the desert somewhere and like set up the mattress and take a nap and then like live stream it or document it. Like it's perfect for your content, bud.
Hell yeah.
I love my Casper mattress. I'm just gonna let you know.
I think look at him. The light bulb went off in his head. He's
Hold on, what's that email again? Mm-hmm.
My wife sent that to me, and she's like, "Babe, they will pay me to nap." And she's like, I imagine Danielle sitting at home right now, listening to Vivaldi and drinking wine because both kids are in school for the first time since we've had both kids.
That's amazing.
So it's just her and the dog till 3:30 p.m. every day right now.
Good for her.
She's living it up.
It's like you've made it. You made it.
Oh yeah. It's like you suffered enough. You can now have peace.
Oh, that's awesome.
Look at Clintus. He's reading up on this. I can tell.
I'm totally gonna read up on this.
I hope this works out. That'd be awesome. You're like at TwitchCon and you just roll out a mattress in the middle of the floor and just
he comes in a Casper onesie next year.
I just roll on like a trailer bed and it's just me in a bed in my pajamas and then just roll up in front of GCX and it's like
get Casper to give you a booth. And then you could just nap the entire time and have people just like walk by and see you napping.
Nap.
It's like
a full setup. I think you muted yourself. You muted yourself.
You muted yourself.
The mute button's on the mic. He touched it.
Damn it! I had this whole thing with the Casper mattress. I was doing the radio voice, and the moment's gone.
Well, fuck the Elgato. That's why you need another shirt in your office, Kevin.
So the audio settings on my PC are all fucked. Paul was here one night till 10 p.m. trying to fix them, and he is scared to try and bring in another microphone. So
okay, okay, that's fair. That's fair.
So we're sticking with the Elgato for now. This I actually read this article too. So the last Oasis, it's an MMO that came out a while back, and I did play the original version. I agree. The developers admit our game sucks, and they're reworking the entire game. So if you go to the Steam page for early access on Lost Oasis, there's an article from the developers bluntly titled "Last Oasis Sucks." I keep saying Lost. It's last. It's not a post on the discussion page written by a disgruntled player. It is an opinion piece from a gaming media outlet pulled in by Steam's news aggregator, and it was written by their developers. So this is refreshing.
They're taking the Final Fantasy 14 route.
which worked.
It worked if you're dedicated and you have backing,
which it seems like they do.
I mean, backing from whoever's publishing you. if
well,
whoever's
it's an indie game, so it's self-published.
Then they're good. Yeah,
so
that's exactly what 14 did. They launched 14. It fucking blew. Thankfully, they listened to the fans. Said, "Yep, we acknowledge it."
Wouldn't you trust developers more if they did this more often?
It depends who's saying it. If these developers are saying it, yeah, I would trust these guys more. If you have EA come in and say, "We acknowledge FIFA sucks. We're going to rework it," I immediately think they're going to try to figure out a new way to fucking label loot boxes and come out with a new battle pass, season pass, subscription model that are all three different new ways to fuck you, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think if the developer admits, okay, this launch didn't go we planned, or we thought this, it's just hard because there's been such a mix of bad stories, Anthem, No Man's Sky, Cyberpunk, where it's like sometimes they admit some fault and we're working on things. Sometimes they just kind of roll with it and like act like nothing's wrong. Sometimes they go silent and they were like, "What's going on?" And then all of a sudden it's like No Man's Sky, like obviously is the most positive return.
That's another good example. That's a great example.
And I have hope for Cyberpunk. I really do. They've still updated the game. They've been doing DLCs. I have a friend of mine who just recently reinstalled it to play it, and they're like, "Oh, it's so much smoother and better." And there's definitely some new stuff and some quality of life stuff. And and I'm still holding out for the online, multiplayer at some point. But yeah, I think if a developer, I mean, I see your point about EA for sure. I think if a developer, though, if in general admits a problem and says, "We're going to go back to the drawing board, or we promise we're going to fix this, or we have plans to fix this."
Yeah. I get it all. So it all depends. Like let's look at Blizzard. Let's look at Activision, right?
Mm-hmm.
They royally fucked up with Diablo Immortal, and when they decided to launch it and it not being on PC, and all of a sudden they started to reconsider shit, right? And when they launch Immortal, you have a battle pass separate from a subscription model, separate from its microtransactions, none of which coincide. So it's like if you have daily login rewards that don't track. So it's just every which way they could possibly fuck you. Every way they could possibly be inside you, they try.
You know what my biggest gripe with Immortal is, besides the monetization?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you put it on Switch?
Right? So they reconsidered, they put it on PC, right? That was, we're going to rethink this. Smart idea.
If it was on Switch, I'd play it.
I don't understand why they couldn't put it on Switch. It's
a mobile game. You know how many mobile games are on Switch?
It's a better experience. You know what I was thinking about the other day? You ever play Dungeon Defenders?
I played it, yes.
So have you ever played Orcs Must Die?
I've never played it. I've seen it.
Orcs Must Die 3 was like supposedly released on Switch, but I can't find it anywhere.
Oh, it's Switch.
What the shit? Is it like a limited release?
If you don't know the Japanese translation of the game, then you probably won't be able to find it on the Nintendo shop if it's not popular.
I mean, I don't know. To me, is it refreshing from developers? Yes. But these bigger developers have time and time again said, we're listening, and then immediately about-faced and will say, well, we know better. You think you want that, but you don't. The jab, the old jab type deal.
Mm-hmm.
So from like an indie developer whose relationship with their fan base truly, truly matters and makes a difference between the life and death of their game, I trust it. From Activision's and EA's, I don't know. I always maybe I'm just what's the word? Cynical, I guess, when it comes to them.
You never.
Yeah, I know, right? Paul's saying Ubi has a solid track record in our chat, and I vaguely remember people being extremely up in arms and pissed off at Ubi decisions.
He's talking about. He said that earlier about admitting that their games suck, because they did that with Ghost Recon, they did that with The Division, they did that with Rainbow Six. The problem with Ubi is they always make their games suck, so they can then go back to the drawing board. And
yeah, so there you go. So at what
the
point
issue.
Are you just creating a problem to then have people pay for an expansion or update fix?
Exactly, because remember, Rainbow Six was absolute dog trash garbage when it first came out. Now
it was horrendous.
Now it's one of the most popular games in the world. And Ghost Recon, remember, the biggest thing with Ghost Recon was everyone was like, why don't I have a squad? Why are you forcing me to play with other players? I'm a solo Ghost Recon player. And then they added in the squad that they had in Wildlands so people could do that again. Division had many iterations of fixing and balancing that it went through, where
did they just
was
completely
trash.
cancel the most recent Ghost Recon?
I didn't see anything about that.
They announced some new release. I thought it was in the Ghost Recon line, and people were like, "This is dog shit. This is not Ghost Recon." And I guess there was so much backlash. I'm pretty sure it was a Ghost Recon line from Ubi. I could be wrong, and I thought that they just canceled. They canceled it altogether. They're like, well, just kidding. All the development we've done, we're just squashing it because it was so bad.
I don't know. I loved Wildlands. Wildlands will eternally be one of my favorite games. I know it wasn't popular with everyone else, but I freaking loved that game. I know it's on Game Pass. I own it already, though, so it doesn't matter. I own it for Xbox. But
what was the one before Wildlands?
I don't know because it
was the one with like is Wildlands the drug cartel? What was the one with the drug cartels?
That's Wildlands.
That's Wildlands, yeah.
It is Wildlands. I thought that was like a DLC though.
No, the new one's Breakpoint. Wildlands was the one that was like open world, and you had to take down the cartel bosses in each territory.
Yes.
It becomes very repetitive. I will 150% admit that, but I just like the cadence. It was fun, and the guns and the gunplay in that game was super fun too.
And
if you played solo, you could control your whole squad and make them do all sorts of fun stuff, which was what was missing in Breakpoint. And by the time they added in Breakpoint, I lost interest. Maybe I'll go back to it someday.
Frontline. Frontline's the one that was just canceled.
Frontline.
Okay.
Kind of dog shit trash did they try and put Frontline?
I played a decent amount of Wildlands. I remember getting like early access, beta, and then when it fully launched, I did a couple of like promos with like when they did the crossover with I think it was Rainbow Six. They had Rainbow Six characters in the game, and you'd go find them.
I love Rainbow Six, dude. Hey, are we doing any COD? Modern Warfare 2?
I'll play COD with both of you.
Hell
yeah. Be really angry at a video game.
You're gonna hear me be really angry at the video game, and I feel like Kevin and I are on the same level when it comes to first-person shooters.
Hey, buddy, I'm like level 58 in Fortnite right now. And
damn.
Yeah.
Do you want to Apex
skin.
It up? Or you?
Like Apex.
You don't?
No.
Yeah, play Battlefield.
No, well, I was going to say with Modern Warfare, we're getting the new Warzone as well. So we'll have the BR and the multiplayer. So we can kind of go back and forth.
I could do Warzone with people. It is not like Fortnite where I can play Fortnite solo all day, every day, and I'm totally fine. No build for reference. I refuse to build. But because at that point, it's just an arcade shooter, which is just fun. I would play Warzone with people. I won't play by myself.
Totally down. They just announced the beta dates. It is September 16th and 17th is early access for PlayStation exclusive. September 18th to the 20th is open beta for PlayStation. Weekend 2, September 22nd and the 23rd, early access for Xbox PC open beta, and then 24th through the 26th is open beta on all platforms.
All right.
Okay.
So just so everyone's aware of anyone that's interested in Modern Warfare 2. And then I don't, as far as I know, they haven't said anything about Warzone specifically.
2.0.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the same weekend.
I'm excited for Modern Warfare 2. There was a little bit of a multiplayer leak that came out. I saw Jack Frags had a video on it. It was short. There wasn't a whole lot of info, but I'm like, just to see an M4 like that, I'm like, yes.
Did you see, Clintus, did you play Rumbleverse?
Rumbleverse? No.
It's the new MMO. That's the studio Deej went to. I forget the name.
Oh, I heard about that, but I haven't even seen anything about it. No.
Yeah. It's basically a battle royale, but it's melee.
Oh, really?
There's no guns. So you just like fist fight and drop elbows on each other. Tim said he had a blast playing it yesterday. I haven't really watched it or played it, but
I'm stupid excited for this Riot MMO still.
Have they released anything?
No, I want the Riot MMO.
All right, we'll see.
Something we could talk about next week too, because I need to jump into it because I'm a founder. Is Doc's game? The first slice has been released, and people have played the first slice because that's the way the game's being built.
Yeah.
So
there's the NFT game.
That's the NFT game.
Yeah. There's NFT.
All right. So I'm gonna stay blind to this because I know very limited.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna let you explain it to me next week when we record, and
I need to check it out because I'm not like there was an event in LA that I got invited to because I went in and jumped in as a founder. I got my NFT character, which I don't have a wallet, but I have the character, and I'm one of the founders as a content creator. I was like, I'm gonna jump in on this because I'm really excited what Doc he's gonna do. All I know is it's called a vertical extraction game, so it's gonna be like Tarkov, but you're in a high-rise building. So the levels are of a building, and that's all I know. That's all I'm going to say.
Kind of like Division,
right? I haven't looked into it yet, so I haven't really understanding things. I just started seeing some video pops up on my feed, and I was like, I got to watch these. I got to look into it. So I'll report back.
Division was crossplay. I'd play with you, Mike. I just don't want to play it on PC.
I don't blame you.
I really like my couch. I'm sorry.
Are they really even entertaining that? I feel like they were entertaining that.
They won't at this point. No one plays it anymore.
They had a big resurgence when they released the most recent.
There's so many games that should be crossplay, like freaking Elder Scrolls Online. The fact that game doesn't have cross-save crossplay is just the dumbest shit in the world.
Yeah.
So, Paul's playing with this little girl. It's so cute. Last thing before we get out of here, Skyrim mod adds Shadow of Mordor style Nemesis system to the game. So, just so you know how this works, I actually just started playing Shadow of War, which is
it's a great game, dude.
Oh my god, it's so good, and they improved.
It's a great game.
System so much. The only thing, as a Lord of the Rings fan, Shelob being like having a person form is a little.
Oh yeah.
It's throwing me, but aside from that, I'm just,
dislike.
I'm just dealing with that. Oh, sorry, I got an email saying like you're expecting you in this meeting, but it's not for another hour. Weird. So this Skyrim mod, Sky Clonix, Shadow of Skyrim mod turns an enemy who defeats the player into a uniquely named nemesis. So Warner Brothers actually patented the nemesis system, so other studios can't use it unless they're published by Warner Brothers.
Which we've talked about this. I think it's a smart business move.
I also think it's a smart business move. I hate it from a consumer standpoint,
sure,
but that's the play. You got to protect your shit. The upgraded foe comes complete with increased stats and a special buff like a shield breaking ability that makes players consider a new approach to combat. The mod also grants players a debuff upon death and allows the nemesis to steal armor from players and use it to bolster their defense in later encounters, which essentially in Shadow of War, if you get killed by one of them and then you meet them again, they go, "Oh, you're back for more," or something like that. And they get their stats get upgraded. They get better gear. It's really cool. It's genius.
The system's amazing.
It really is. It really is. But then you got stronger too, and you learned a few new tricks. And it also, the coolest thing is I've never felt this in a single player game, but it really adds to the feeling of like the revenge that you get.
Yeah.
And some of them survive death too. I killed one guy, and all of a sudden I'm walking around this area, and the way they flip the camera is awesome because you never know when they're there. And he's like, the arm I cut off on him was completely cut off. So he's just dealing with a nub. And he's like, "You thought you killed me?" And then they have new abilities too. So, you can.
The system's pretty incredible.
Yeah. So this Skyrim modder, I would probably try this, especially if you have Skyrim on PC, which I believe you can mod it probably on Xbox too. Yeah, because they have the whole I forget what the system's called on Xbox for modding, but Xbox has modding as well. So, yeah, I would 100% try this based on the fact that they can steal your gear is fun too. Because in Shadow of War, it's just like the upgrade to the character as a new gear set. This is like your gear,
right?
So that's like an incentive to go find the bastard that took your sword, stab him in the throat, and take it back. So yeah, no, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. That's all for us this week. Thank you for tuning in to episode 38 of the Old Fashioned Podcast. Make sure to go check out Clintus everywhere on the internet. Like you said, he's making some new vlogs. Maybe you stop over there on YouTube and check him out. You could Mike's, everything's locked for Mike, so you don't get to talk to Mike. If you want to talk to Mike, you could go to Twitter and go to Old Fashioned Pod and send a message, and I will relay the message to Mike if I get it from you. Even if you just want to say hi, I'll screenshot it and send it to him. You can send him a gift or something.
Dick bags.
Yeah. So, and if you want to check me out, I'm KMagic101 on Instagram, KevinXVision on Twitter, and everything we do is at raredrop.co. If you could rate, review, subscribe on our podcast, it would help greatly with rankings and all that fun stuff. And you know, if you want to talk shit, you can do that too. Just be prepared for the clapback. Just warning you ahead of time. But we hope you have a fantastic week. We'll see you next week because we're gonna get Clintus's download on Dr. D's new game. And we'll see what else is going on in the world of nerd culture, kids, and being dads and shit. You all have a great week, and we'll see you then.